Hey y'all, it is February 16th, 2019. And y'all, I just wanted to holler at y'all about something real quick. And I'm probably going to elaborate upon it later and do a video about it. But in the meantime, I just want to holler at y'all. I was just kind of dwelling upon this animation again. So I was looking at this animation. It reminded me of some stuff. Okay, I want to play this real quick. Look. The slow motion. This is a cruise, and he's up in building 12. And you know the story, how it's gonna go. So he's about to enter the stairwell. And also, will Chris McKenna, he's right there. And I was, just looking at the animation as I've been doing. And it's interesting because on this animation and in the timeline, they do note specifically when certain things happen, and they make it easy for us and we appreciate them. But basically, we all kind of know that, okay, this is supposed to be Nicholas Cruz and he's exiting the door right here. It's going to be like 5 seconds before he's shooting everything up, right? And so, Chris McKenna, he's bolting like nobody's business out of building 12, and it's in slow motion, but he's actually running about as fast as you could possibly imagine about that building. See, pretty soon, and it's going in slow motion, but pretty soon the first of the shots, you see that? First shots fired. Okay, so this is where Medina goes, whoa, Nelly, and he starts bolting south. He's going to start headed south right now. McKenna, he's running like heck too. Okay? So as they're doing that and it's in slow motion, they're running. They're making their way out of there. Right? So McKenna, he's eventually going to reach Coach Feist like we talked about. And of course, Coach Feist does not have a firearm. Nobody does, right? Okay, so he runs into Coach Feist and he tells him, okay, look, there's a shooter, I believe, in building 12. All right. Thing is, he probably wouldn't have to tell him there's a shooter necessarily. Maybe he was just telling Coach Feist where the shooter was at. Because here's the thing. From all the different various reports that have been said, it's pretty fair to guess that Aaron Feist heard the gunshots. All right. Loud and clear. Maybe McKenna was just telling him where the shooter was at. Maybe that's the case. Okay, we don't know if Feist drove McKenna all the way to the baseball field like the New York Times said. We don't know if he drove him to the baseball field and drove him back to Building 13. We don't know if Feist just went ahead and tucked McKenna up in Building 13. We don't know. In fact, I don't think they know what happened. All right? But as we're going through this, I just want to make mention that, okay, for example, the deputies just north of Building 12 that are going to arrive within a few minutes, some of them described the gunshots. Some of them said it sounded like bombs were going off. And I know it sounds incredible. I'm not the one who said it. Those deputies, one of those deputies said it sounded like bombs going off. And they were a little bit farther from Building 12 than actually Mr. Feist is right now. So Mr. Feist knew some sort of calamity was going off. That's for certain. Let me turn down the volume. Got the volume up. Okay, so it sounded like bombs were going off, according to the deputies that were there. All right. And for example, just so that you know, way over by the what is it, that track, the football field, way over by there was a deputy that described it sounded like shots were 30 feet in front of him. Now, he could be belligerent and delirious. I think it was Deputy Kratz, it might have been. He said it sounded like the shots were 30 feet in front of him. He might have been delirious. All right. But that's just to give you an example of how loud these shots were. It's going in slow motion, so Feist hasn't gotten to the Building 12 yet, but he's about to go. So that's to give you an example. There's a Principal Morford. Eventually, he said he heard shots way in Building 1. All right. No, not Morford. Porter. Porter said that. I forget what Morford said, but Porter said he was in Building 1 and he heard like it was firecrackers or something off in the distance. So that gives you all sort of reason to believe that Vice definitely heard those gunshots. So with that being said, did Vice drive McKenna to the baseball field and go back to Building 12? I don't know. I don't think he did. Maybe he did. That's what McKenna said. All right. But instead of running, just going straight directly into what sounds like bombs going off, according to some people, instead of just running in there unarmed, completely helpless, if you were Feist, wouldn't you attempt to radio one of them their code reds? At least, wouldn't you radio a code red and then run helplessly into the gunfire? Wouldn't that be what you did? It sounded like bombs going off, according to some people. All right. I know people on the third floor didn't hardly hear any gunshots, allegedly. But to people outside, for some reason, they thought bombs were going off. All right. So, like I said, wouldn't you call code red? And then run your helpless ass into oncoming gunfire. Isn't that what you would do? I don't know. But the thing is, maybe the radios didn't work. Maybe maybe the walkie-talkies weren't working because, as it was known for years in that particular county, sometimes the radios wouldn't work. All right, sometimes they were absolute garbage. So maybe if I tried to call in the code red and it didn't work, and so what he did was he ran his ass into oncoming gunfire. He didn't have a firearm. No, it doesn't make any sense. Not even a little bit. I appreciate y'all. It's February, I think the 16th, 2019.